Well, what will the implications be if SAA doesn't get that bailout? We're joined by attorney and senior business rescue practitioner George Nell from Corporate Business Rescue. George, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. So government is struggling to find this money, and SAA, of course, under business rescue. What are business practitioners looking at right now in terms of the money SAA needs and if it doesn't get it?
Well, business rescue practitioners should try to convince the trade creditors to do business with SAA. If a trade creditor doesn't think he will get his money, they will stop delivering the services that are rendered to SAA, and that could stop SAA in its tracks, or out of no, in its tracks is not a wrong word choice, but this airline is flying, so it won't fly anymore.
So the business practitioner is currently involved in this business rescue project at SAA. If they, in the next couple of weeks, see the government can't provide this money and they decide that SAA needs to be sold, that is a likelihood, right?
There's more than a likelihood. There's also they must, in the adjudication of the situation, they must conclude that there's a reasonable prospect that the company could be rescued. Should they conclude that there's not a reasonable prospect that the company can be rescued, they must liquidate the entity, not just sell the entity. And that's a big difference by selling it and liquidating it. It's two different stories.
Yeah. So how important is this 2 billion rand then for SAA?
I would say very important. I haven't looked at the finances of SAA lately, but the trade creditors won't go on delivering the services to SAA if they don't think there's a big brother that will fund this. And then they will retract the services, and then the company will get grind to a halt.
There's talk about government selling part of its stake in Telkom to raise that money to fund SAA, but that's going to take a long time. How long does it normally take for a business rescue practitioner to assess whether or not an airline or company should continue operating?
Yes, there's strict timelines for a business rescue practitioner to assess what must happen with the company. In this instance, at the first meeting, it was voted that the plan can be only published in the end of February 2020. So they've got till February 2020. But in the meantime, again, I'm repeating myself, the trade creditors must provide the services. And if they don't think they will get paid, and that's what happened in December when the entities actually grinded to a halt, if they don't think they will get paid, they won't deliver the services, and then the entity is in deep trouble.
Yeah. So let's look at other aspects that the business rescue practitioners are focusing on apart from this government bailout. Because SAA has said for years that it hasn't made profits, that it needs more money. They need to reassure its creditors. What else do the practitioners take into consideration before coming to their conclusion?
Well, they must take into consideration that they employ thousands of people, a very important factor in South African context. We hear over the weekend that jobs are lost left, right and centre. They should consider that. Then they should consider the national importance of a national carrier like SAA. And then they should consider the creditors. They must be even-handed in their consideration. In South African context, the jobs that's saved while saving SAA would be of utmost importance, in my view.
These business practitioners are seen by some as a saving grace for Eskom, but that's not the reality.
For Eskom or
for SAA?
Yes. No, they are functionaries. They are officers of court. They are very well qualified persons that can assess the situation, and they are in extreme difficult circumstances. They must run this company. And they not specifically a saving grace. They have got a job to do, and if they conclude that there is no reasonable prospect of rescuing the company, how heavy that decision is, I don't know. I'm glad that I don't have to take that decision. Then they have to liquidate the entity.
So there's no consideration for government to make here. That is the final say.
Well, they've got the say now. They've got full management control of the company, and they must, if they conclude that there is no reasonable prospect, they must liquidate. There's a lot of other things that I have to take into consideration, but the fact of the matter is they must liquidate if there is not enough money available to run the company on a liquidity basis. On a solvency basis, this company has been insolvent for a while. I don't know how they're going to get the solvency in place again.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, sir.